Welcome, everybody, to Drag Race TV's Pedal to the Podcast with John Sears, the most famous tech man in all of radio racing and big tire racing. It doesn't matter. Anything to do with drag racing. If you don't know John Sears, boy, you better sit down, buckle up, put that harness on, and get ready because John's here with us today. John, say hello to everybody for me.
Hey everybody, Brian, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Listen, John, having you in here, especially after all of the things that have been going on in drag racing land the last few days, I mean, it's a big deal. It honestly and truly is.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on, hasn't there?
Yeah, I mean, most people get to see you with this wonderful picture, and they see that your RPM trailer in the background.
That's right.
Or, they might see you smiling next to the Racers Club over there where Russ Buck's got everything going on. I think that was at Bradenton, isn't it?
It absolutely is. It was at World Series of Pro Mod.
The World Series of Pro Mod. We love that. Oh, man, we really do.
Yeah, it's an amazing event.
And, John, that looks like a Pro Charger, does it? Is that?
That's actually, looking at it, that's the hot side to a turbo. And we're doing the inspection of the hot side to make sure that the turbine wheel meets the specs of whatever particular class we were looking at. That may have been, that's probably either an Ultra Street or an X275 turbocharger.
Oh, okay. No problem. Let me see here. All right. So let me turn around and get this back to where we are here. So, John, you were the tech master extraordinaire, as I put on the scroll on the bottom. I mean that. I've known you for many years, many, many years. I keep saying it because I turned 58 the other day, and I start realizing I've been in these pits for 45 years. I've met an awful lot of great people. Some that, have since passed away, and
Right.
then others that are just up and coming young kids that I look at and I'm like, heck, they could be my grandson.
That just shows that you've got longevity in the sport, man. I'm 59. I got a year on you.
I love it though, John. I know you love it because you're always doing tech at a different track, a different big race and everything. People are always calling you for rules packages and how do we handle things. You've been in this game longer than me, obviously, but it's just, how did you get your start? Let's ask that question first.
Well, basically, just a love of drag racing, drew me to the competition side and love hot rods, love cars. Of course, street racing back in the day, doing all that kind of thing. But when I started going to the track and being in the tech lines for extended period of times, and there always seemed to be a shortage of tech guys. And when you finally did get a chance to get your car teched, some of those circumstances were less than favorable as a young guy in the sport. And some of the old heads, back in the day, them guys were rough. They told you to go load your shit up and go home if it wasn't right. And I looked at that as not a positive experience. And when I decided to start teching and doing rules and being a part of things on the other side rather than the racing side, I wanted to give people the opportunity to go fix what was wrong on the car and to make it safer and to educate and inform racers. A lot of times some feign ignorance, but there's also somebody that may have, this is a new experience for them. So making it a positive experience so they come back is what I hope that I'm doing in the world of drag racing and giving people a positive experience that they do come back, and so that this sport continues on.
Listen, I'm just going to put it point blank. You have such a great name in the sport of drag racing, and let me qualify that a little bit. Maybe not for the smaller tracks and the smaller races, but for the big dog races. We're gonna say that would include World Series of Pro Mod or Ducks Race, or any of the big radial races. Swan Fest. I'm sure you're going to be at.
I hope so.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we've done Big Jake's Rakes, but I haven't been contacted yet for Swan Fest. But I'm sure at some point they'll reach out.
Oh yeah, I mean I know you dealt with Travis Harvey and Lance Stanford over at Carolina No Time.
Absolutely.
As well. I mean, I love those guys. Unbelievable. They're just great
Yeah,
racers.
wonderful people.
Yeah, I was talking to some people at the track, and they were actually really happy that you were there doing the tech. And the reason is because they know it's not the cheating, it's the safety. And I got to tell you something. I asked you as a preliminary to tell me, how we should hit, explain to people what they need to have for the track when they go to the track with their car, what they should be aware of. And I think it's a little bit more important this week that we talk about certain things like fire, that we because unfortunately a fellow racer of ours, Blaney, Marvin Blaney, had a very bad fire.
That he did.
And as racers, we're more scared of a fire than a crash. I mean, if Jerry Bickle or Jerry Haas or RJ or whatever built the chassis, we know they're using the best steel, the best welds, the best everything.
Right.
Okay? We have the best harness in there to keep us in the best seats, to protect us, with the best helmet on our head. But the one thing that we always are more afraid of, because you have no control, is a fire.
Right.
And I know that you and I have spoken about this, and you are always telling guys, hey, make sure you get the pins out of those bottles. Don't forget. Maybe you'd like to address that just a little bit, that hopefully it'll help somebody not get injured.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things, during the tech and inspection process for the cars that are required to have fire bottles. We look at the dates on those bottles, make sure that they've been serviced properly, make sure that they're within date. And if they're not, a lot of times racers think that, I'll put it in there and it should be good. And they don't understand that there's a serviceability and a lifespan of those things. So bringing that to their attention in the tech process really can go a long way to, as far as prevention in regards to somebody being burned significantly, or completely losing a race car due to fire or what have you. And those are some of the things that we like to talk about as we're walking through and doing tech on the car. Those fire bottles. And I was talking with some guys at the track the other day about the particular incident at the ICURA event, and I asked them when the last time it was when they were in their car at the shop and did a blindfold test where they could get out of the car safely in the event of emergency. And a couple of people actually surprised me and said, man, I was just doing that the other day. Put the blindfold on, got in my car, completely dressed and suited and booted, strapped in, Hans, everything, steering wheel on, just as if they were going down the racetrack. And they practiced getting in and out of the car to make sure that they were going to be able to extricate themselves safely and quickly in the event of a fire. So it was good to hear that. And some other folks that were listening in were like, man, that's a great idea. I've only done that, during my license process. It's not something that I practice. So those
John,
casual conversations go a long way.
Let me cut you off. You bring that up. It is part of the licensing process. But heck, I got my license 30 years ago.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I got it in a car. I got it at when I got it at my CUDA. And I was a pro car. It was a foot brake car. And it went 990s at the time.
Right.
You know, I had it a little slower going in 10-0 classes and everything with a foot brake. But the fact of the matter is, I remember when Joe Sway signed my license and he goes, "You got fire bottle?" I said, "No, Joe, I don't need it in this car." He said, "You know, you should get one."
Yep.
Joe Sway, you know, God rest his soul, but he was tough, but he was a good guy. He really was.
Right. Just, it's one of those things that in passing conversation you have with people, just because it's not a requirement doesn't mean it's not a good idea to have it on your car.
There's the thing. You know, we were at Rockingham, and I was with Kenny Nallen and ADRL at the time, and I forget the Indian guy's name. He had a yellow Camaro. His name escapes me. He had a fire about 60 foot out in the car. Blew the manifold off on the nitrous, popped the manifold. It broke the fuel line, and the car went up, and it almost burned to the ground completely in about 3.5 minutes.
Doesn't take long, does it?
Not at all. He was very fortunate, got out, just a little smoke inhalation, that was it. I had Fire Aid there Joey from Fire Aid the next day. And you look now, they have that enforcer on the back of the quad that to spray. That stuff is miracle juice. I don't care what anybody says. I watched Joey take a rag, put it on his hand, a brand new one, spray it, decent amount, and he took a propane torch and he put it in his hand and kept it there for about 1.5 minutes. I said, "You gonna burn your hand?" "No, it won't." That's how good that is.
Yeah, it's a great product.
And since that day, and that's 10, 12, 13, 15 years ago now, I never went in my motorhome or my house, for that fact, without a bottle of Fire Aid, a spray can of Fire Aid.
Right. A lot of people carry them in their cars, you know, rather than having a small fire extinguisher. They have Fire Aid with them. You know, you'll see it in there.
A lot of guys today that have fires with the lithium batteries from the golf carts and quads and everything, race cars in the trailer, and they all, "Oh, I wish I had it." And invest the $10 in a friggin' bottle.
Right. It's not that expensive.
Right. Save your $1 million rig in operation and everything.
Yep.
But let's deal with, instead of talking about all that negativity stuff, let's talk about positivity on tech. Before you get to the track, okay, I put a few notes up here. Before you get to the track, know your safety rules for your ET and review the class rules as well as understanding them. Could you explain that a little bit for everybody, John, so they get it?
Right. So each particular type of car and or performance of each car is held to a different standard depending on how fast it goes. 1399 and slower is a lot different from 1150 and slower, and 10.0 and slower is a lot different from 850 and slower. Each one of those has a different requirement. Roll bar, roll cage, certified roll cage, and then you get into, you know, the suit that you need to wear, whether it's a 1 or a 5 or a 15 or a 20, right? Some classes don't require the use of a Hans device, but 2 years ago they came out with some new rules for the Hans device and a head sock and a skirt in lieu of just a neck collar for 1 mile an hour, which I thought were all exceptional additions to the rule book, because safety is our #1 goal, and it's to keep you safe and to get you to come back the following week and go home safe and sound at the end of the event to your family in one piece. And so if you have an understanding of the rules as far as what your ET and mile per hour requirements are. And then also the class rules, it's probably going to expedite things in tech for you, particularly prior to coming to the track. You just posted up nuts and bolts, what you should expect at tech. Nut and bolt your car before you go. If you get with Doug at Motion Raceworks, he's got a great laminated card that literally you can have a checklist to nut and bolt your race car with. And it's an excellent addition to anybody's toolbox.
That Motion Raceworks, I mean, they're not even a sponsor or anything, nothing, but they are really cutting edge on helping a racer today with outstanding products.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Doug has been nothing but I've seen a lot of videos with him, and I've spoken to him twice. The guy is just phenomenal. He really knows his stuff.
He does.
Then, okay, this is a big thing. I notice people constantly screw it up. You forget your helmet in the trailer. Like, really? You got to look at what the Schnell date is on it, right?
Right. So all the helmets have a rating. Anything that's SA 2015 or 2020 is fully accepted. There's also additional FIA helmets that are accepted by NHRA and their affiliates. If you come to tech without some of those items, we're either going to pull you to the side and wait until you go get your items, or we're going to ask you to bring those items back and put your tech card in what we like to call limbo or purgatory or the penalty box. We'll put your tech card to the side and we won't turn it into the tower until you come prove that you have the correct safety gear. So it's a whole lot easier to bring it all at once, have it all laid out properly on the back deck of the car so we can go through it quickly and inspect it to make sure that it's suitable for use and suitable for the ET and mile an hour that you're running.
You bring that up, it's suitable for use, and you check it because they have dates on them.
That they do.
And some people have been known to try and use one that maybe is out of date. I remember being at Atco Raceway, and there were two gentlemen that were there that their suits expired, and one guy wanted to borrow mine just to make it through tech and then use his.
Right.
Like, dude, what if something happens to you? I mean, there's a reason that they have dates on them, and it isn't just for money. A lot of times it is. You sit there and you think, well, the window net doesn't have to be expired that soon, or, maybe a damper, a balancer or something doesn't. But the truth of the matter is, they find that if you let it go too much past the date, that it can give a problem, and it can wear out. It can,
it's not as effective as it was when it was new. Think about how many times you've seen racers changing a transmission, wearing their 1, 5, 15, 20 pants that they spent money on, and now that they've got transmission fluid on them, and you and I both know how flammable transmission fluid becomes.
That's going to burn them up.
They're
going to die. They're going to get hurt. If they don't die, they're going to be burned to a crisp, and it's not fun.
Right. There's nothing worse than having your fire suit on fire.
I bet you can be assured of that. Now, the tech staff usually asks what class that you're in and how fast you go, as it says on here. Could you explain, like, going from a really fast car to maybe just a little gangster, which is still fast.
Right.
What the difference is on the nets and belts and things like that.
Right. So at 750 and 450, things really start to ramp up, right? So some Ultra Street cars, X275, LDR, Pro Mod Pro 275, Top Sportsman, Top Dragster, all those cars are generally 450 and quicker. So depending on fuel type, power adder, things of that nature there, you are going to have to be in a 15 or a 20 suit. You're
Okay,
also going to...
John, I know the difference, but a
Right.
lot of people don't. What's the difference in a 15 and a 20? I know it's the weight and the thing. I know it, but could
Right.
you explain it for everybody that's wondering what the heck these numbers are about?
All right. So the 15 and the 20 suits are heavier, and will give you a longer period of time to escape the car in the event of a fire. A 5 is less than a 15, and a 1 is less than a 5. Those will give you minimal protection. So, and as you get into that 450 range, that's when you get into dual fire bottles and things of that nature there. And then if you add M1 into the mix, an alcohol-based fuel, it kind of throws a lot of that stuff out of the equation, because if you go slower than 450 but you're using alcohol, there are requirements for that as well, and that starts with a 15 suit.
Because the weight of the suit helps you avoid getting burned. God forbid, should there be a fire.
Right.
Okay. A lot of people don't understand that, and you want to make sure that they get it, because I see a lot of guys go to the track, in Grudge especially. They'll get in a car that, okay, they're not putting the time on the board, but you can hear the motor. That's a pretty big, nasty, big block. Maybe it's a 632, but you can hear its power. You can hear that cam in it, and the guy's running nitrous in it. But he's wearing a 5 jacket. It's like,
Right.
wait a minute, dude, you're putting your life in your hands. Wear a 15, wear a 20. That's where you should be.
Right.
But
Absolutely. Especially if it's a lightweight car, multiple systems, 632, it's a sub 450 car, right? It's going to be a sub 450 car. It's no time. We don't talk about those times, but generally you can look and see, and you could go, that car's pretty fast. He should probably have more safety gear on there. You exceed, 150 miles an hour in the quarter, I think, and it's 135 in the eighth, you're required to have a Hans, in lieu of just the neck collar. There's tons of reasons for that. If you have a funny car cage instead of an 850 cage, you have to have head padding in and around the funny car cage area to protect your noggin from banging up against that cage. The Hans does it, the helmet does it, but also the padding will assist in lessening any shock to your dome, so to speak, when you're upside down in that car and it's deciding to do 6 cartwheels down the track.
yeah, well, that's a big thing, and I get it, but some people don't. All right. This is a big deal. We were just
Oh
talking
yeah.
about the fire systems, but it's the nitrous bottle blow-offs. Could you explain why they're important, why you check them, and why people should take heed because of what the damage can be done?
Well, just recently, somebody posted up a video of a white Mustang leaving the starting line in the left lane, and I think he got about 300 feet out, and the bottle decided to uh, exit stage left, so to speak, with the diaphragm, and it let loose in the car. And if you've ever been near a car as it's purging nitrous or whatever, it's super super cold, and
Yes.
will actually burn you, and cause some significant damage to your skin. Um, if you're in contact with it. So having 1 or 2 bottles in the car with no way for that bottle to vent off to the atmosphere outside the driver compartment is one of the things that we check for, and that's what the nitrous bottle blow-offs are for. Those are attached. They give the bottle the opportunity, should things go sideways in the car and the bottle does blow off, it will give it the opportunity to exit the driver compartment via that blowdown tube.
Okay, now, how should that be affixed? because people think that you could just put a hole in the floor and just put a line through it. I keep telling them, isn't it true that it needs a bulkhead, correct?
It should have a bulkhead. If you don't have a bulkhead, I'm going to recommend that you get a bulkhead, but if it's at least exiting the driver's compartment, that makes me very happy, right? It's one of those things where you educate and inform and you bring that to their attention. Hey, you can add a fitting to the end of this. It will tie into a bulkhead fitting, go through the floor, and exit the driver's compartment and keep you safe.
Okay. Now we have up here the transmission, the bell housing, the diaper, return throttle return springs.
Right.
And please go through this, John, because some people, like, I know I've gone to the track with some of my cars in the past, and I've gotten yelled at for not having a ground strap on the gas
on the fuel
tank.
cell. Yep.
That's right. Okay. I was allowed to run for that one day and was told, do not come back tomorrow without having a wire on there. And
Right.
we would prefer if you took any piece of wire today and grounded it, even if it didn't look pretty.
Right. Right. That's one of those things, because as you're filling in a plastic fuel cell with a plastic fuel jug, sparks can happen and can ignite the fuel and cause a significant issue there with fire. Yep. Static electricity is something that does happen, especially in the colder months when drier air is prevalent. Basically, what I like to do is I like to start at the driver's door when I do my tech inspection. And the first thing that I generally check is the crotch strap, because that's the one that most drivers and crews are too lazy to change out. I've seen multiple times where the crotch strap does not match the shoulder and lap belts. And the dates are different on them because they didn't want to climb under the car and they did that. So what we always do is that's where we start from. We start from the driver's seat belts and we make sure that crotch strap, shoulder harnesses, and lap belts all mesh with one another. And I don't know if you know this or not, but as of June 30th, July 1st, top sportsmen and top dragster cars are all going to be required 6 and 7 point harnesses. Me personally, everybody should just go with the 7 point. I understand that the 6 may not be around long, so if you're going to do it, just go ahead and get the 7. It adds additional belts that go over the thigh area to keep you in place in the event of an accident where you're inverted in a car and your legs are getting thrown around and everything else like that. So that's a huge thing for me. The next thing I'll check is the window net. You have to have a window net when you go quicker than 999. It does not need to be in date. There's 2 different kinds. You'll have to check your NHRA book for the very clear specifics on the types and how they're rated and when they expire and when you need to upgrade. Generally, what happens at 450, the net needs to be in date. And most of the cars that we deal with are 450 and quicker. So we generally let people know, hey, this is coming due. You're going to want to go ahead and get a good window net, because a lot of times they're very specific to the car from the manufacturer, things of that nature there. So they take a little bit longer than seatbelts to get. So try to be in front of that there. The next thing I like to look at is the bell housing, whether it be like a reed case or whether it has the Bonafante bell on it. Those all have stickers and dates, and make sure that they're SFI certified and been inspected. So that's pretty much a driver's compartment. There's a couple more things in there, like when you get into Pro Mod with 90,000 steel underneath the driver's floor, and a couple other things in those areas there. But that's the primary things that we're looking for, along with the 45-1 or 45-2 padding in the funny car cage area.
Yeah, because I got to tell you what, since the demise of Eric Medlin, the safety that has been put into the cars now today in a funny car cage, whether pour in place seat, which people still want, oh, I don't need that. I don't need that. The greatest thing that ever came out was the poor place seat. I had one of my Cavalier. I got it at President's Cup. I'll never forget it. And I said, yeah, let me get it. Not only did it make me more consistent on the tree, but I felt more comfortable because I was sitting the exact same way every time in the car.
Right.
I never moved. And unfortunately, you were there when I had the accident at Bradenton in 2007.
Yeah.
And I hit the wall. I got out, and I didn't even have an ache the next day.
Right.
Put it because of all the safety equipment that I had in the car. It was, unfortunate.
It works.
Hey, we want to go home with the same 10 fingers and 10 toes we came to the track to.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
A lot of guys or girls, I'm saying it from the male perspective, we tell our wives, our girlfriends, our mothers, our grandmothers, don't worry, we're safe, we'll be fine. We want to mean that. Sometimes we really don't, but most of the time you do, because you want to go to work on Monday so you can go back racing the next weekend.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't want to be in a hospital stay or anything like that. The tech guys, they're not your enemy. They're the ones that try to keep you safe, but it's not even you. I learned this a long time ago. It's not you that they care about as much as the guy you're racing against in the other lane, that you don't want to hurt him.
Correct. That's why, you watch some bracket races and, you may have a quarter-mile venue that you're at, and there's a guy, let's say he's probably running 10:30s or whatever, and he's lined up with a 7-second dragster. That dragster's coming at some velocity.
50 miles an hour faster than he's going.
Right. And if bad things happen to the dragster, and he winds up getting tangled up with the door car, he's probably going to feel the brunt of it in the dragster, but I guarantee you the guy in the 10-second car is also not going to have a good day. And those are those kind of things that a lot of people don't think about. Who's in the lane beside me? How fast is that car? Especially bracket racing. Like I said, if you've got a 10-second car versus a 7-second car, that's a pretty significant mile-an-hour difference and a pretty significant lead difference. And with that being said, those are always things that I take into consideration, especially in test and tune when you see people not really caring about a light and they red light, or the other guy kind of sits there because they don't want to show how fast they are sitting next to the guy beside them because it's a no-time event. And we've got them out there testing early on, or they're doing their shakedown side by side. That's always one of the things that's in the back of my mind is when that first guy leaves, how long is that other guy going to sit there, and how fast is he going to be going when and if something does go wrong?
Well, that's a big deal. It really is. It's a big deal. And John, I got to tell you, I have watched you for many decades, as we said, and you always have the racer's best interest at heart. And I think that's why you get so much respect from every single class that you've always been with, is because everybody that knows or has been teched by John Sears knows he's only trying to keep you safe. He's not trying to ruin your weekend. And the more new people, younger people, hopefully lots of younger people, continue coming in this sport, they'll see this, they'll hear this, they'll get to know who is John. And, I thought he was trying to be mean to me, telling me I better do this or I better do that. No, he's trying to keep you from not going home one night and, making your family sad because you really got hurt or died. We come out and we love this sport with all our heart. Nobody wants to die for it. Nobody wants to get
No, we want to continue doing it. We want to continue going out there, spending tons of money to impress people we don't know.
That's the one thing today it really has. It's gotten to the point that, I mean, you got to have a good job now or you can't go fast anymore. We've had the old saying, speed is a question of money. How fast you go is how deep your pocket is.
Oh, absolutely it is. That's one of those things, you possibly can build a car at a very high level over a couple of years, right? Can you maintain it? Can you maintain that car? Can you make sure that the engine gets freshened up regularly so you're not putting an aluminum rod through the side of the block? One more run on these rods isn't going to hurt. So your freshen up just went from $6,000 to $8,000 to $25,000 in a snap of a finger. So some of that preventative maintenance will go a long way. So you need to think about that when you are building a car and when you are going out here racing. Is this a level I can maintain? And if not, maybe step back a little bit and get in where you fit in, so to speak.
Well, the late, great Jeff Baker, who is a dear friend of mine, who worked at Baldwin Motion Camaro when I met him, had a Camaro, and I helped build it. And he told me, he goes, Brian, he goes, this sport is really effed. I said, why is that, Bake? He said, think about it for a minute. We spend all this money to go fast, right? I said, yeah. He goes, you spend more money for more horsepower to go faster, right?
Every time.
He says, then you spend less time in the seat doing the thing you love the most, which is riding on a track. He said, you go from a 12-second car to an 11 to a 10 down to a 5-second car. He said, where does it end, Brian? I said, I don't know, Big. I'm trying to get into a fuel car one of these days. You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. He goes, slow it down. Spend more time doing what you enjoy. He goes, I'm lying, right? He says to me, I'm lying. Don't slow it down. Because we don't know how to go slow. Once you go fast,
it's very hard to slow down.
Yeah, you can never go slow again.
Right. Definitely is hard to do.
John, I am so grateful to you for coming on because it isn't just for Marvin's wife to hear a Marvin. It's for everybody out here in drag race land that loves us and loves the sport and loves to be involved. The safety is something that we really have to look at today. And we have to be very, very mindful of. Because I've watched wrecks where a guy didn't even know he was about to get hit from the guy in the other lane. Then I've watched guys on a single that just lost it instantly, gone.
Right.
And we just don't want everybody to get hurt. When somebody gets out of the car and they give the fist pump up, yeah, I'm okay, guys, a wave. The door's open. Then the safety safaris can slow it down by 1 mile an hour to get to them, because if they can breathe at that point, oh my God, the guy's okay. I can breathe. Okay, because they're holding their breath till they get there too and get that power.
Absolutely they are.
I look at guys like you, Kurt Johnson, who was at the track this weekend, he worked on that track for Chris and Shelby to clean that bump off. And Chris was actually on Wes Buck's podcast today.
He was.
I mean, it was just the heat that literally melted the asphalt down like an inch and a quarter. It wasn't an inch and a half, I don't think. But, boy, I'll tell you what, that Kurt Johnson's something else. He left when he found out about it, and Chris said he needed to get it fixed and drove all the way to Indiana. Yep.
Picked up equipment, turned right around, drove all the way back, and went immediately to work when he showed up at the racetrack.
Zero sleep. He lived on coffee and 5-hour energy drinks.
Yep.
I mean, when I saw the equipment there, he said, it's no big deal. He goes, I can't have anybody wreck the car. He goes, what the heck? He said, "This is a racetrack. We can fix that easy. 1, 2, 3. Then we
Right.
let the cars go down." And he did.
Well, that was the whole thing. One of the things that Chris was saying, you know, he said he's got an outstanding staff there
Oh,
at US
Tyler
60.
Bohannon, Heaven up in the he's got badass people.
Yeah, he's got some really good folks back there. And the pull that he had to get the asphalt company over there was just awesome to see. But if you look at it, he brought in, you know, Barrett to help with the chip draws and to announce, and had us doing the whole tech thing, and then, you know, helping manage the race. And, you know, I've known Tyler Bohannon for a minute, and you know, I'm on the radio with him several times, you know, because he was actually clocking the times. So how long did it take us to run this? How long did it take us to run that? When's the last time this group of cars went down? Which allowed me to then streamline our processes of lane calls and pairings and chip draws and everything else like that, to add a lot of fluidity to you know, Bodie's race. And I think Grudge Bowl was a huge success for US 60 and for Jay Bodie as well.
I'm gonna put it this way, because Jay Bodie Senior and Junior, AB, all the guys from West Coast Grudge, everything, they had me out there doing the live stream for them. Chris was very impressed. I literally, before this podcast, spoke to him. He has ordered cameras, permanent live stream cameras for at the track.
Wow.
What he has done, what Chris Mattingly has done, is amazing. The one thing that he has done that nobody can do in drag racing for some reason today is he redid that track in no time and has now put that as the place to race.
Oh, yeah.
He has made that. There is nobody in drag racing today, Thursday, Wednesday, okay, that doesn't know how badass US 60 Dragway is now in Kentucky.
Oh, yeah. They put themselves on the map after this one for sure.
That quick. I mean, it's like literally, it's like a brand new car coming out and lighting the scoreboard up with a personal best on the first hit. I mean, out of the gate, that man has done it. And I am so happy for him, because he and his wife are lovely people, number one. Shelby had a little boot on because she had a little mishap with her foot. And she was still on top of everything. And I can't wait to go back.
Yeah, I was shocked to see her go up and down the stairs into the tower with that boot on her foot. It says, hey, you know, we can get somebody to walk up there for you. She's like, nope, I got this.
And she's on a scooter. Then she said she left the scooter. She's on the golf cart. She's everywhere doing everything. I have so much respect for them. It's amazing. They are wonderful representatives of drag racing, US 60, the Commonwealth of Kentucky. I'm telling you, they're amazing.
Yeah, their future is bright.
I've already heard some scuttlebutt. There's been a bunch of words that get ready. There's another Bodie race coming this year at the end of the year.
All right.
And I have some reason Duck put out a picture of Duck with US 60 Dragway on it. I don't know what that's about. But he has built, and the things he's continuing to do, new entrance, new tower, my God,
right.
The man is amazing at what he's doing.
I think shifting the entrance over for the racers to the other side is going to just add a huge bit of value to the property and to the racetrack. And getting in and out of the racetrack is a really hard thing at some venues, right? Like, you got long lines and there's only one way in and one way out, and it really, you know, kind of hinders your ability to have a good time, right? You get a little frustrated in line waiting and everything else like that, because, you know, as a society, we need things now. We need it right now. I need to get in the gate now. I want to watch racing now. Well, that's not always the case, right? Right. But he's going to improve the situation at the gate.
Did you see Forever Grudge's drone shot from up top?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, forget that the place was packed. There was 50 cars going one way trying to get in and 50 cars going the other way trying to get in.
Yeah. Yep. It was awesome.
Yeah, I'm so happy for them. They deserve the accolades because they earned them.
Oh, yeah. They definitely put the work in.
But they earned them big time. You know, and you talk about you've known Tyler for a minute. So Tyler's dad was there. I was like, yo, Bohan, what's happening? He said, Brian, and this was funny. So Meg's, his wife, was.
Yep.
And I said, Bohan, when was the last time we raced together? We were in brackets. I said, it's been a minute. He goes, yeah, when was that? I said, I think it was Atco in 96.
Oh, don't do that.
Hold on. Megs goes, that's before me and Tyler were born. We weren't born until 98. I had to go. I walked away at that point because I was just like, I am old.
Yep.
I cannot believe, they're just such good people. They
are.
They really are. Listen, John, I could spend hours with you because you're just such a great guy and so knowledgeable and helpful. But I have to wrap this podcast up because everybody get tired of us.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
The one thing that I do want to talk about before I go is, everybody knows that Drag Race TV is out there doing live streams, and we're putting more and more tracks on the live stream, and we're looking for more and more content creators to help them and, give them some exposure and actually pay them for their work, maybe a little bit better than they're getting on YouTube even.
Right.
But we have a new camera that we're releasing next week. This is a live streaming camera for all the teams. They can put a little wireless mic on, put the camera on the golf cart, on a tripod, in the race car, on top of the race car, connected to the trailer, whatever. And they can actually stream to Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, or whatever they want on there. But they also will be on Drag Race TV on Roku, the channel, our channel.
Oh, wow.
Their own section. So when they want to have all their racing exposed to the world and they want to show everybody what they've got and, build content and, create more, they can have that at the track every day, run it in their car, run it at their shop while they're just working on the car even, so they can show their fans what they have. We spent a lot of time and a lot of money getting this camera built and developed and put together because I had to have a little antenna put on it because if a car's going 200 miles an hour, it has to stay connected,
Right.
It's got its own SIM card built in. So it's built-in internet inside of it because who the heck you can't run a cord down the track,
No, you can't.
You don't really have very good Wi-Fi. So I had to build this with all that in mind, and it's being released this coming week, and it'll be $750. You get a year on Drag Race TV included with it. After that, it's only $7 a month. It's enough to cover the bandwidth. That's
Absolutely.
really what I care about. I want to help them, but now guys will be able to use this camera, and they'll have the frame on the inside of it that they can put their sponsors on, so they can earn money for their race team. Because
that's a pretty good idea.
Other companies with it. It's something I've been working on for several months because it's needed. The sport needs this. Everything is streaming and everything is content creation today.
It is.
And the more you have it, the better you have it, the better we are. John,
100%.
Thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Sears, tech extraordinaire. Thank you so much for being on with us, John. Have a wonderful night. What's your next race that we're going to see you at?
The next race I should be at is Triggerman's race down at Carolina Dragway.
Is that August 2nd?
Yes, it is.
I'll be there doing a live stream.
I'll see you there.
Tracy and Kevin Lanning, I love them guys.
Yeah, they're good folks.
Oh, the whole Lanning family. Miss Tammy, his wife. Oh, they're great people. Thank you so much again, John.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
Thank you. Have a good
one. Yes, sir. You
Bye,
too.
everyone.
Bye.